I have been working with the field, sustainable fashion, textile waste, circular fashion, almost 20 years. So I'm a clothes lover, so I wash most of my clothes by hand. I repair them. I love what I have in the closet. And I think that has kind of opened the path for me to understand the system and where the consumption and production actually go wrong and why we have ended up with such a textile waste problem today. Fast fashion is the result of the kind of a overproduction system we have and the growth mentality we have in our Western economies. So we see items that cost less than a cup of coffee in the European airports are bought in big volumes and actually not even being used. We see in the sorting centers, for example, or in the waste bins, items with the hang tags on. So this volume and speed and the growth that we need to replace and the marketing campaigns that this season you need this and next season you need that has really changed our relationship. When I moved to West in Denmark and US, I had never seen in my life the volumes of clothes that people were shopping. And then during the weekend, they drove to a charity bin and they emptied the closets and went to buy new ones. So that kind of consumption was new to me, but has been dominant, and that's the reason why we have so much textile waste today, because there are lots of clothes being produced, more than we actually need. We don't appreciate things anymore, and it goes also to taking care of clothes. If you go to flea markets, you can see beautiful items like silk dresses or wool sweaters or that have been just washed wrongly in a too high temperature, and they are destroyed or they are not nice looking anymore. So it also does require knowledge and skills to actually take care of your clothes. And I think these are the habits or practices that in a very fast-paced world are kind of disappearing. There is a lot of stuff. I can just buy a new one instead of making an effort to keep the one longer in use and taking time for that. I think there is a lot of potential on the consumer side to value things differently and to consume differently. There are signs and interest and people are concerned. I get lots of people reach out and say, Kerli, what should I do with my clothes? Or, I mean, they're concerned, they would like to do things differently. Or they're curious, like, what is a sustainable garment? Is that when the plastic bottle has been turned into a polyester dress? Is that the sustainable choice? Well, no, not really. But so there is a curiosity and to do things differently, which is good. And yeah, maybe to add that the reuse part, the secondhand part, since there are now many options consumers to buy secondhand, it also should be looked critically. Are they replacing new consumption or are they just adding? So there are more items in your closet because it's cheap and it feels good. It's a sustainable choice to buy secondhand. So are we actually consuming more now and adding the secondhand consumption on top of that? My experience and the small studies I've done also show that consumers are extremely confused. They simply they feel that they are misguided. Turning plastic bottles into a t-shirt or dress is a good narrative on the hang tag, but that is a one-way street. To take the plastic bottles, turn that into a garment, and this garment with today's technologies, which is very limited and very expensive, can't be recycled in the end. So you're taking one sector's waste and raw material, turn it into other sectors' raw material, but then the material is lost if it can't be recycled. I think why we have the problem with textiles and why the impacts are so high and the waste problem is enormous is because it's been really under-regulated sector, and where producers are actually not responsible for post-consumer phases of products. So the volumes, the complexity of reuse, recycling, durability, and so on. That's why the extended producer responsibility is extremely important. That makes the brands and the producers actually participating in solving that problem. So financially, because currently the end of life or the post-consumer phase, the collection, sorting, reuse, recycling, this is underfinanced. If you put a lot of big volumes of low quality products that have no reuse value or are very complicated to recycle. Let's say a 5-blend product where you have polyester with wool or cotton, like a blend of many materials, which is extremely complicated to recycle, almost impossible, fiber to fiber recycling, then it should be expensive to put these products on the market, because the end of life management is extremely important. So if you don't have a good product, durable product, both emotionally but also technically, then you can't build a good circular business model around it. So it does start with a product.